Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Kessler from Kessler Insurance, and I'm here today on behalf of Cheers for Charity New Hampshire with my dear friend Joanne. Hey, Joanne.
Hi, I'm Joanne Burchuk. I'm with Lighthouse Physical Therapy, and we have another super fun charity to talk about today. I'd love to introduce Kristen, and yes, her name is Lamb. How appropriate that she works at the Center for Wildlife. I just love that. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. And just introduce yourself, what your role is, and tell us a little bit about the center.
Sure. My name is Kristen Lamb. I'm the executive director here at the Center for Wildlife, and I've been honored to be with the organization for 19 years, wearing a lot of different hats, but I put on the executive director hat in early 2013. And so the center has been in existence since 1986, and we were originally founded by a local veterinarian and state senator who saw that there was no place to bring an injured or orphan wild animal. Also that the public and our community actually wanted there to be a place to, bring the injured barred owl that had been hit by a car, or, the nest of baby bunnies that were left behind. So we founded in 1986. I think we had about 100 patients, 100 phone calls that first year. We didn't do any environmental education programming, no internship program. But after about 5 years, we began to see that animals were not becoming injured because they were falling out of trees or, fighting with each other. It was really that they were facing struggles because of some kind of human activity. So being hit by cars, development, trees coming down, pesticides, toxins, things like that. So our environmental education arm was born pretty early on into our work. And this past year, we actually just moved into a brand new $6 million facility. It took us 36 years to expand out of a donated ranch house. So that's very exciting for us. And now we treat on average about 2,500 injured and orphan wild animals that represent about 190 different species. We present about 350 environmental education programs to, from infants, we'll do preschools all the way through nursing homes, elderly, and we also do host about 30 apprentices and interns. So those are young professionals from across the country in learning the fields of veterinary medicine and environmental conservation. And now that we have our new facility as well, we're contributing to a lot of baseline studies and data on what animals are coming in with as far as, toxins, lead, things like that in the environment, new illnesses, emergent disease from a changing climate. And so we're able to contribute that with our state and federal agencies, and hopefully just make our entire pocket of the environment a better place. So that's all.
Oh, that's all. Yeah, that's great. I did see your facility online. It looks beautiful. I happened to see the old facility years ago. I dropped off an injured bird, and I was so excited when I got the email that I could attend the release of my little bird that I rescued, and that he was all healthy and well. So I thought that was kind of a neat thing that
yeah, we love to
out.
give the honors of release, we call it, to the rescuer, because we all can go about our days and certainly care about things or be moved by something, but when someone actually takes action to rescue an animal or whatever the sector might be, we love to foster and deepen that kind of empathy and actually taking action. So yeah,
I appreciated that. So can I ask, what is the most unusual animal you guys have ever received?
I love
The exact same question. Oh, that's so funny.
I love it. So we admitted an elder yellow-nosed albatross, which is a very large bird that usually lives around the equator. Albatross are large birds, and I forget what the name of the famous albatrosses. She's, I think, like at least 30 years old, and she had, lays an egg every year, and people follow her. But so they're long-lived birds, and they're very large. They actually can kind of fly the equivalent of like here to Turkey without landing. So way off course, but it was following a pretty severe, 1,000-year storm. So the theory was that she got blown off course and we did blood work, and we work with Tufts Wildlife Clinic, and they were able to determine through like DNA that she was an older individual. So she ended up getting released, which was really cool, but blown, so far off course, but landed like 3/4 of a mile from Center for Wildlife. So I was like,
Nice. That was
I
a
need
lucky
help.
bird.
Yeah. I know about a place. Someone was saying something.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
pretty cool.
It's so nice to see, how it makes me feel good, that when you do find an injured bird or any sort of animal, that there is a place to bring them. And what would be something you'd want to tell people about for, they find a wild animal? What are some of the precautions, things they should be aware of, or even, certain animals that call, don't touch, things
Yeah,
like
right.
that.
Well, we always, so first of all, we just love that this, the seacoast region, people truly are in tune with their wildlife. And so we receive sometimes like 50, 60 phone calls a day. We're definitely in peak season right now. So just love that people want to help wildlife and they're noticing if something is a little bit off. But we do encourage people to call a licensed wildlife rehabilitator before taking any action. April through September is really peak baby season. And so, birds don't fly out of their nest and, take that like Snow White, like wave goodbye to their parents flight. They fall out, they roll out, they plop out. And, just like an infant or a toddler, they have to build skills and muscles to be able to walk. The same is true for birds. So a lot of calls during baby season is like, I have a baby bird, what can I do? And we're like, go put it back. The parents are around. So it's always good to call, kind of suss out what might be going on. And then a licensed wildlife rehabilitator like the center can kind of walk you through, best steps to try to contain the bird, or we take mammals and amphibians and reptiles as well. But yeah, definitely always good to call, unless it's like a songbird or a bunny. You just want to call, and usually we encourage people like keeping heavy gardening gloves, a cardboard box, and a blanket in your trunk. You're pretty well equipped to handle most injured wild animals. Certainly rabies vector species like raccoons and even fox or fisher. We try, with rabies vector or species that, the general public might have trouble with. We certainly recommend that they work with their animal control officers or fish and game, inland fisheries and wildlife agents. But those guys are spread pretty thin, and so they're not able to respond. So, and what we always think about is like, wildlife is not owned by anyone, so really it's kind of collectively all of our responsibility, and wildlife give back so much to our own physical and emotional well-being that it really kind of is up to all of us. But certainly, like great blue herons have very long beaks. They're about that big and they strike fish. So you don't want to be, just attempting anything on your own. It's a good question.
That's fantastic. It's so I obviously you're available for our community, when someone finds an animal that needs some help. What can the community do to help you?
Yeah, so people are usually surprised that we don't receive any state or federal funding. I actually I graduated from UNH with a BS in wildlife ecology, and I made it almost through all 4 years thinking that, oh, someone must do that. And so there is no state or federal funding. There's no program that provides medical treatment for injured or orphaned wild animals. So anyone that does this type of work is doing it completely on fundraising, and also wildlife and the environment receive just 1 to 3% of philanthropic giving annually, and that's held true the entire time that I've been in my position. So it's not that, someone else will take care of it or someone else will do that. We are truly community run. And we do have our big, beautiful new building that can really serve our community. We've got a nature center. Families can come up, field trips. We had field trips for the first time in May, because up until then it was like COVID time, and all of us were like, we're hearing like little pitter patter of kindergartners, in the nature center, like learning about environment. So it's really exciting. But I think that's something that most people kind of just don't realize. And people ask me like, oh, so who is your big benefactor? But we're community run, community driven, and it's like, just individuals and local businesses giving at all levels that make this work possible. So that's a way people could help, is by giving, also volunteering, spreading the word. We do have a pretty dynamic social media presence, and we like to just post about like current trends, what we're seeing, what wildlife might be struggling with, what people might be experiencing in their backyards, wildlife conflict, and ways to kind of coexist with our wild neighbors instead of driving them out or being annoyed by them. And so, people can read those posts, share those posts, take some of those lessons I think word of mouth goes so far.
That's awesome.
Now that you have your center open too, people can come and see I see you feature animals that you're not able to let go, so they can really see things up close and personal. And
yeah, so we have 30 non-releasable ambassadors. We call them ambassadors for their species. So they have permanent injuries which prevent them from going back to the wild, and those are great horned owls, peregrine falcons, our turkey vulture, barred owls. So all native species that people would see in their backyards. And it is, something, a positive outcome, I guess, of COVID was that people really connected with nature, right? The parks were like overrun and beaches and everything, but people returned back to nature as a safe place to be. It felt good. It didn't have the constant buzz of, negative news and things like that. And that seems to be sticking too. So when we envisioned this whole expansion, we wanted it to be a place where people could connect with nature and wildlife and also heal wildlife. But we're seeing that it's also just becoming, a peaceful place where people can just slow down. We're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday now for drop-in hours. And we've got, grandparents with their grandchildren. We have people coming by themselves. We have entire families. So it's just, it feels really good. And it feels like we maybe finished things at a good critical time, even though it was a little challenging.
oh, I'm sure. So what exciting events do you have coming up? You mentioned you have fundraisers, and that's a big source of your revenue. So.
Yeah, so we have let's see, at the end of July, I think it's July 30th, we have Christmas in July. So the holiday bazaar had been canceled because of COVID this past year. So, but we have a lot of really cool local artisans and makers that we're going to be vendors at the event. So we're rescheduling that, and we're holding that at the end of July. We actually have a Beaks and Brews. So it'll be our first little like brewery food event. So we'll have wildlife, but also a lot of local breweries who are, great supporters of a lot of the nonprofits in the region. And then we are open, like I said, on the weekends. And then we have a lot of, we have our fully fledged adult naturalist night series. So every other month on the second Thursday, we host adult programming for, we just, do a presentation with one of our local partners who's like a master tracker and bird language expert. And we do a little presentation, then we hop out into the woods with flashlights and headlamps and just explore the habitat around. So many things coming up, and just, yeah, people go on our, just visit us page. We also have been booking out birthday parties. Some people have been booking like family reunions and Rotary events and things like that. We do have a beautiful space, a big stone amphitheater and an auditorium. So it's just been great filling up the space and having people interact again. It's been great.
This has been awesome. It's so much good information, and we love what you do, and we love how you make a difference in our community every single day. And for those, 2,500 plus injured or orphaned, creatures that need the humans to make a difference, right? Do some good for them. So we're thankful for that, and we're thankful for your time today, Kristen. It's been great.
Thank you. Thanks for hosting.